What is up, fight fans? This is DJC Combat, and in a couple of days' time, goes down arguably the most stacked fight card pay-per-view of the year, and the final pay-per-view of the year. Not only that, the final fight card of the year, topped off by Edwards versus Covington. But so many great fights on there. I mean, we just took a hit by losing out on Ian and Luque, but we still got Shavkat, Wonder Boy, and Royval, Pantoja, Tony, Paddy, uh, Emmett versus uh, Emmett versus Mitchell was added to the main card, and then we also want to cover a couple prelim fights as well. And I'm not going to be doing this alone. Joining me for, I believe, is it the third time now?
Third time.
Is one of my best buds, Samurai Sod. We predicted UFC 285 together and UFC 287, and now we're gonna predict together UFC 296. I'm looking forward to it. So we're gonna start with one of the prelim fights, the first two prelim fights that we're gonna cover. So let's start with Cody Garbrandt versus Brian Boom Kelleher. Sod, I'm gonna let you start this one, bro.
I know. I think I got Cody Garbrandt here. Listen, I think Cody's always meant to be like one of those guys who's just not being able to compete at the top. But if you give him a can, I think he'll get the knockout. He'll get the submission. He just got a dub earlier this year against who was it?
Trevin
Maybe
Jones.
Trevin Jones. So I didn't like his performance, but he did fight smart, and you don't usually see that from Cody Garbrandt. But Brian Kelleher, I don't know how old that guy is. I think he's 38 years old. He's just not that guy. I think I got Cody Garbrandt by knockout. It's an easy dub for him.
Yeah, I'm with you on this, man. I mean, it could potentially still be a dangerous fight for Cody because I know Kelleher, he's kind of on that can status. Still, he is dangerous. He does pack power too. He is explosive, and Cody is a bit chinny. And I mean, if Trevin Jones could rock him at the end, so could Kelleher. So Cody has to be careful. But I do think Cody's the more skillful fighter. He was a former champion. And he may not be a top level guy anymore, but like you said, a guy like Brian is the caliber of competition. I almost said his last name that he should be able to beat. So I'll say Cody wins because he's more athletic, bigger, faster, superior boxer, power advantage. Either man could knock each other out, but I could see Cody getting a knockout. Maybe he actually wins a decision in this one. I just see him playing it safe and smart like his last fight and just using his athleticism in boxing to his advantage. Knockout decision. Either way, Cody's getting the dub. Now we're moving up to our girl here, Irene Aldana versus Karol Rosa. I'm going to kick off this one. You already know who your boy is going with. I'm definitely going to be picking Irene Aldana to catch a body in this matchup. I think people are sleeping on Aldana, not in this fight in particular. Like a lot of people, I'm sure, expect Irene to win, but she's getting so much disrespect because of her last performance against Amanda Nunes. And yeah, on her part, she could have maybe done better. It wasn't the greatest performance, but if you look at who she fought the GOAT in WMMA, Amanda, someone who has the power and the striking that she does. She's a different season of fighter, you know what I mean? Like a different caliber. That's the term I'm looking for. And we all know Karol Rosa is nowhere near the level. There's like a huge skill gap between Karol and Amanda. Amanda's here, Karol's right here. And Aldana's somewhere like, not, I wouldn't say she's close to Amanda, but she's in the middle. She's in between, but she's tiers above Rosa. I think she's better everywhere. I mean, there's really nothing about her that scares me. There's really nothing about her that I see as a stylistic threat. With Macy Shasta on her last win, I was more worried about Macy because of her size, grappling, movement. She's also a pretty good striker. She's tricky. But Rosa, she's short, she's slow, lacks the punching power. She does go for takedowns in fights, but I don't even think she has much of a grappling threat. Aldana is superior in all aspects. Her boxing, her overall striking, her speed, her size, her power. She's got more finishing potential. And I think anywhere this fight goes, Aldana should be able to dominate. If Karol wants to grapple, we know Aldana is improving. She's evolved in that area. So Aldana can beat her in a scramble, end up on top. pound her into the canvas, maybe get a sub like what we saw against Macy, where she almost got the sub there. If it's on the feet, like I said, I think Aldana should piece her up. And I do believe that we are going to see in this matchup a confident Irene Aldana who's more willing to open up with her hands and exchange. And I just think she's going to land the bigger, better shots and do the damage when it counts. And I could see a knockout. I could see a sub, but I'm going to go with Irene by a decision because Rosa likes to kind of make fights boring and stale. And I kind of see her taking a safety first approach in this matchup. Usually girls who Aldana knocks out in her UFC career. I don't know about Invicta. Well, I do know about Invicta, but in the UFC, if you notice the girls she's knocked out, they were women who got overzealous. Like Vieira was chasing the knockout, got knocked out herself. Yana tried to push a fast pace, ran into a left hook. Karol ain't going to make that. Oh, she might, and I hope she does. But I see her playing it safe, but just getting outpointed. But I do hope Aldana finishes her. And all these fans who jumped off the Irene bandwagon, they're going to hop back on like they never left. But we know who the real ones are. Myself, you, we never left. We got that faith. She's going to win this and be one win away from the title picture. So I got Aldana by decision in this fight, 30-27. And I know who you're picking, but let's go in depth, my bro.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep this short and sweet, but yeah, I got Aldana. I love Aldana too, but you spoke a lot of facts there. You spoke pretty much for the Aldana community. Yeah, Aldana's gonna get the knockout, man. Rosa is not impressive at all. This is pretty much a gimme win for Irene Aldana. There's a press conference tomorrow with Mara Silva and Raquel Pennington. The winner of that fight is going to fight the winner of this fight, I believe. And I think Aldana could probably get the belt because Mara Silva's a pretty good contender, but I think Irene Aldana could beat her. Yeah, I got Irene Aldana getting the submission or the KO.
Yeah, I know like Myra beat Holly, but I don't know. Styles make fights, and Myra's not that great of a striker, and Aldana's a better boxer. Myra does get hit quite a bit. I could see Aldana knocking her out. And I still am a believer that she would beat Rocky in a rematch and she would have won had that fight rematch not been canceled due to circumstances where she had to slide in for the title fight because Pena dropped out. But I think I could see her beating both, especially Raquel. But yeah, she's gonna show levels this weekend. Rosa just has nothing on her. Her only chance to win is if Irene just doesn't perform to the best of her abilities and just doesn't show up. But if we see the best Aldana, we know it's going to happen. I had something else to say in regards to this fight, but I forgot, and I think we've said enough. Now it's time to move on to the main card. We got Josh Emmett versus Bryce Mitchell. I'm going to hand this one over to you.
All right, so Bryce Mitchell is taking this on short notice, but he got a W a couple of weeks ago against Daniga, I believe. And it was a decision. It was a close fight, but a win over Daniga is always impressive to me. Daniga is a tough fighter. He's game. And Daniga is pretty similar to Josh Emmett, except Josh Emmett's just got a little more power. But again, Josh Emmett's like 30-something now, 38, reaching 40. But again, this fight's on short notice. So I don't know how to feel about that. But I'm going to go with Bryce Mitchell because Josh Emmett's grappling. Yeah, Rodriguez, he got a submission on him. I think Bryce Mitchell can take him down and get a good submission win here. He has to be wary on the feet though, because Josh Emmett could KO him. But he doesn't really have the boxing. Josh Emmett he's a really powerful guy, but his striking is not even all that. It's like he just swings overhands, hoping to get the knockout. I think Bryce Mitchell will be smart enough. He'll get the takedown early, and he'll get the submission.
Yeah, I very much. Or sorry, you got Bryce Mitchell, right?
Yeah, Bryce Mitchell.
Kind of zoned out there. Okay, actually, I disagree. I'm gonna go with Josh Emmett as an underdog here. I know Mitchell he's good, but I just don't see him as like the tier of competition or style that's gonna stop a guy like Josh Emmett. All Emmett really has to worry about is the takedowns, the grappling, the ground game. Josh Emmett, he's got the wrestling base that I believe he could use to keep the fight on the feet, sprawl and brawl. And on the feet, Mitchell's not the greatest striker, doesn't have the greatest striking defense. He's not the most technical. He doesn't have slick enough defense to avoid the power of Emmett. So I do see him inevitably getting caught. Ilia Topuria in that fight, for all 5 rounds, even though he dominated, there was no moment where he was safe. Mitchell's not going to be safe in that fight. And actually, I kind of see this fight going similar to the Ilya fight, except Emmett doesn't get the sub because he doesn't got the ground game of the Ilya. But I could see him getting a bunch of knockdowns to maybe win a decision because Mitchell is tough. Or maybe he does get him up on out of there, but I got to go with Emmett. But hey, if Mitchell wins, I will not be shocked. All right. Now, what do we got next? Tony El Kukui Ferguson versus Paddy the Baddie. I see a lot of people going for Tony. And trust me, I want Tony to win just as much as the next guy. Now, I'm not a Paddy hater like everyone. I've always been a Tony fan since day one. I want to see him get back in the win column, but let's not kid ourselves, man. Tony Ferguson has declined in all aspects of the game. His striking capability, his athleticism, even his grappling capability, his ability to fight on the ground, off his back, get up from takedowns, defend takedowns is just not there. And I think Paddy can win this fight everywhere. I think he can beat Tony standing. He does have power to hurt him. And if, Paddy is also a high-level jiu-jitsu guy too. If he wants to approach this fight by working takedowns in his ground game, he could do that. And he can submit Tony, man. I mean, if you're getting subbed by Bobby Green, who's a boxer, Bobby's a phenomenal fighter. But, I mean, if Beneil Dariush or Oliveira would have got a sub on Tony, that's not embarrassing. But you're getting arm triangled unconscious by Bobby Green. Someone with Paddy's ground game can sub him, so I think Tony's going to let the fans down again now. He's had some fights where there was some glimmer of hope, like Chandler had a good first round, had an okay first round against Bobby till he got poked in the eye and the fight, changed. He lost momentum. But, I mean, even if he does start good or even scores a knockdown, Tony doesn't really know how to capitalize on those moments, and the moments end up slipping away from him. So, yeah, I think Paddy's got it, but I'm hoping El Kukui kills this man. What about you? I think you have Tony, right?
Yeah, I have Tony. I'm gonna disagree with you on this one. About the armbar, I mean, what was it? The arm triangle thing. The difference is though that Charles Oliveira and Beneil, they had Tony on limb submissions, and Tony
Yeah.
Ferguson's tough. But when it comes to like chokes, right? It's just a little different story, because they're squeezing the neck. You can't really be a tough guy there. You're gonna have to either go to sleep or you're gonna have to tap. So he never tapped. He just went to sleep. So I disagree with you on that one. And yeah, he's on a 6-fight losing streak. But I just don't see Paddy Pimblett beating him, man. Paddy Pimblett arguably lost to Jared Gordon. I don't think he's that good. I think he's pretty bad. I think Tony Ferguson's finally gonna get a W here. Early Christmas present. We got a Tony W. I'm excited for this one.
I hope, man. I would love that, but
I got TKO, by the way. Tony
I
Ferguson,
think,
third round
okay,
TKO. Tony Ferguson,
yeah.
third round TKO.
If he's going to win it, I could see a TKO, but I mean, Jared Gordon would beat Tony Ferguson too at this point. And my counter argument to that is between now and last year, I mean, for one, Paddy was injured in that fight. I'm not trying to make excuses, but he's had a lot of time between then and now to make some improvements in his game, but we'll see. You could be onto something here. You've called upsets before. I hope you're right that he finally gets a dub. That's what we all want to see. Now moving on to Shavkat Rakhmanov versus Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Who you got, my man?
I got Shavkat Rakhmanov by first round submission. Listen, man, Stephen Thompson's great. He's a great striker, but the last matchup was favorable for him. Kevin Holland's a striker. Listen, people were saying that Stephen Thompson's washed, and they're somewhat right because Stephen Thompson's takedown defense has kind of decreased over the years, but he's still a great striker, and that's why he beat Kevin Holland, and I should have seen that coming. But Shavkat Rakhmanov, man, he's a great grappler. He's a great wrestler. And from what we've seen, Gilbert Burns, Bilal Muhammad, they've beaten Stephen Thompson pretty handily in the grappling. I don't think this is going to be a different story. But if Shavkat is egotistical in the fight and he's going to want to strike with Stephen Thompson, don't be surprised if he gets knocked out by a spinning wheel kick or something, or loses a decision on the feet. So he has to grapple in this fight. I don't want to see him striking in this fight. You just cannot be striking with Stephen Thompson. I don't care who you are. He's one of the best strikers in the UFC. But I do have Shavkat by submission in the first round.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Rakhmanov to win this one too. I see a lot of people going for Wonder Boy, and it's because there's a bit of bias. He's a fan favorite, and for some reason, well, not for some reason, a lot of people kind of hate on Rakhmanov. I mean, he's not even Dagestani, but I think he's from that part of the world, right? Like Kazakhstan, and
Yeah,
that,
Kazakhstan.
they're like
They're-
close to each other, right? Forgive my lack of
Yeah,
education.
yeah. They're,
Okay, yeah.
geographically, they're in similar locations. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, and that's why people, are biased against Rakhmanov and they overlook the talent that he brings to the table. But I just think he's that next generation, the new wave of top welterweights. If anything, those losses to Bilal and Burns showed that Wonder Boy's time at the top as one of the best guys in the world, it's done. He has no title run left in him. That's so 2017, never gonna come back for him again. Um, and I just think, Rakhmanov is the more well-rounded fighter, like you said. And, Holland had chances not to like take the fight to the ground, but when Wonder Boy slipped and he ended up on top, he let Wonder Boy up and wanted to stand and bang and fed into Wonder Boy's game. If he falls off balance against Shavkat, I mean, Shavkat's going to force him to the ground like Bilal and Gilbert. But if there's a moment, an opportunity for Rakhmanov to get on top of him, pause. He's not going to let him up. He's going to fight smart. He knows what he has to do to beat Stephen Thompson. The blueprint, it's out there, it's written. Woodley thought he wrote the blueprint just by making it boring and playing patty cake for 5 rounds. No, you just got to go straight wrestling. Rakhmanov's big. He's the more complete fighter. He has the option of being able to take the fight to the ground. Now, it is going to be challenging with Wonder Boy's movement, his speed, and his striking. Shavkat will have to use his strikes to set up his takedowns, which in moments will get him hit and taking some damage. And might, lead to Wonder Boy having some success, but it's only a matter of time before the fight hits the ground. Wonder Boy won't get up. Now, Shavkat hasn't gone to a decision before, I don't think, at least not in the UFC. But Wonder Boy is very hard to finish. Only been knocked out by Pettis and like a weird fluky, jumping off the cage Superman punch. He's never been subbed. Burns couldn't sub him. So I mean, who knows? Maybe he could get knocked out or subbed in this fight. But I think this might be the first decision win in Rakhmanov's career, and he might have to make it boring to win. But either way, I do think he wins. And a lot of people actually want Wonder Boy to win. I love Thompson, but I'm actually rooting for Shavkat. I know people are going to hate me for this, but I like Rakhmanov, and I want him to have his time now. I want him to go forward. I would like to see how he matches up with the Colbys, the Leons of the world, the Bilals of the world. With Wonder Boy, we've kind of already seen it. I mean, him and Leon would be interesting, but Leon will probably beat his ass. Let's be real. Colby definitely beats him. So, yeah, for me, let's go Rakhmanov on this one. Now we move on to the co-main flyweight title fight between the Cannibal Alexandre Pantoja versus Brandon Raw Dog Royval, part 2 years in the making, 2 years apart from the first one. Since then, I mean, both men have gone to do big things. Pantoja went on to win a championship, beat Moreno thrice now, and Royval has racked up the same amount of wins that Pantoja has over Moreno, 3 in a row, and he's looked good thus far. But I just don't know if Royval has, evolved enough to the point where he can beat a guy like Pantoja. I just think this fight, it's a matter of styles make matchups. And I still think that Pantoja is a bad style matchup for Brandon Royval. Brandon Royval is a very talented fighter, a very tricky, unorthodox striker, dangerous on the feet, and that's obviously going to be his best chance to win because he was having some success in the striking last time, but I just think it's always going to be the grappling, wrestling, jiu-jitsu aspect of this fight that's always going to separate the two. And I just don't see Royval being able to keep it on the feet long enough to work his striking on Pantoja. And I think this fight's going to be much of the same, very similar to their first meeting. Although I think one difference is Royval might actually hurt Pantoja this time. He might actually score a knockdown. Pantoja might have to overcome some adversity. I think Royval is going to be a bit more prepared, and I think he'll be able to prolong this fight, survive some of the bad positions he got finished in last time, like getting his back took. But even then, I think Pantoja can win rounds through takedowns, back control, maybe get a finish in the late rounds, a later sub, or maybe, maybe he can ride out Royval to a decision. But this fight definitely has potential to be fight of the night. Pantoja's last fight with Brandon was insane. He took a lot of damage in that fight. Both guys beat each other up. And we know Raw Dog Royval, he's all about bangers. So I can't wait for this one. I'm rooting for Royval to win, actually. I wanted him to win the first time. I want him to win now, but I just don't see it. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Raw Dog Royval as well, but you got to go with Pantoja here. I think he's like the best flyweight outside of Figueiredo when he was here. He beat
Yep.
Moreno like 3 times in a row, once in the Ultimate Fighter, twice in the UFC. Listen, man, Pantoja is just so good. Like, he's good everywhere. He's got power. He's got Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He's got good wrestling. He's got good
Great chin.
stand-up, great
Yep.
chin, right? And the first fight, I know Royval has made some adjustments, but I think Pantoja, the way he fights, he's just going to make Royval crazy again. He's going to make Royval fight his fight. He's going to make
With all that
Royval
pressure.
draw. Yeah. I have Pantoja again, but again, this is MMA. Literally anything can happen. Even when you think like there's a clear winner,
Yeah.
yeah, I got Pantoja winning by third
Yeah.
round submission.
But now let's move on to the main event of the evening. Leon Rocky Edwards versus Colby Chaos Covington. I'm going to let you start this one, Saad. Who do you have winning the main event and why?
Yeah, man, this is one of those fights, bro. One of those close fights, especially at welterweight. Usually the title fights are always competitive. There's been like almost one-sided welterweight title fight. And Colby Covington, I know he doesn't fight that often. I know he doesn't have the best resume. But look, I take that back. His resume is pretty good. But Colby Covington, this
Sick.
matchup is about styles. I know people are saying Leon Edwards beat Kamaru Usman twice. People need to get over this, man. This is MMA. MMA
Rock,
math
paper,
doesn't work
scissors,
here.
bro.
Exactly. This is a stylistic matchup, and I think it's a very good matchup for Colby Covington, and it's a good matchup for Leon Edwards. Yeah, I think it's going to be about who imposes their game the best, man. Either Leon Edwards is an outstrike Colby Covington to the feet. I mean, Leon Edwards has some good takedowns of his own as well, but I don't think he's going to take down Colby Covington. And then Colby Covington, he could take down Leon Edwards and ground and pound into to a submission or TKO victory, or Leon Edwards could get a KO or a win by decision on points. But either way, this is a very high level fight. Yeah, and Colby Covington's pressure is insane. His cardio is insane. It's always going to be there. I think this is going to go 5 rounds or maybe a fourth or fifth round late finish for Colby Covington, ground and pound or a submission. I think he's going to wear Leon Edwards out, man. Leon Edwards, his cardio, it's good, but I think Colby Covington's going to really test his cardio in this fight. I'm really torn on this fight, though.
Same. Hey, good take, man. Good take. I've been going back and forth in this fight for months. My initial lean actually was Leon Edwards, and I was kind of going to go based off, Colby's had the layoff. He's been inactive. He's older. Leon is in his prime, and he's beaten Usman twice. Not MMA math, but the fact that now he's transitioning into a camp with another wrestler, like Colby. He should be seamless, right? But I've done some thinking, man, and Colby always looks good between long layoffs. His resume is not as bad as people think. I know he's beaten a lot of the best guys past their prime. Honestly, if you really think about it, I still think even in Woodley's prime, I'm favoring Colby to win that fight. I think he's superior to Woodley. I still think, Robbie would be dangerous. He's always dangerous, but I think Colby would still beat him. He beats Damian Maia because Maia's got jiu-jitsu and good wrestling, but he ain't out-wrestling Colby. And this version of Colby's got better striking than the Colby who got outstruck by Maia back then. So he outstrikes him, still beats Prime RDA, size advantage, wrestling advantage, and all that pressure. It goes the same way, man. I think Colby, I do think that people aren't lying when they say that he was the second best outside of Kamaru Usman. And Dana
Yeah.
said, man, Usman doesn't exist, Colby's champ. Hey, this is his chance to prove that. And honestly, I think I'm swayed now. I think I'm going to go with Colby to win this fight. It's a bit of a risk. I'm not super confident, but I don't know. I just kind of have a feeling, and, the press conference, we're going to get into that in a moment. But Colby, I think, really got under Leon's skin, especially with the dad comments. he looked emotional in the face-off, right?
Yeah.
He looked very emotional. That could translate into the fight. And honestly, I don't think that Leon has the same mental fortitude of Usman. You know, Usman is like mentally rock solid. I don't think Leon is. So I don't think he'll have the same composure to deal with Colby's pre-fight antics, along with the way he fights in the cage, with his chaos, his constant output pressure, combined with his chain wrestling. I think Colby's going to start fast in this fight. I mean, lately he's been kind of starting slow, but I think in this one, we're going to see Colby come right out the gate. And Leon's the kind of guy who needs a bit of time to think, to make, you know, calculations, to download data. And with all that pressure of Colby, it's going to make it very difficult for Leon to be able to pick his shot, snipe him the way he wants to. And he's got to worry about the takedown threat. I think Colby's going to keep him on the back foot. Leon can defend the initial takedown, but then Colby will transition to another. I think he chain wrestles better than Kamaru Usman. I think his style overall is more smothering than Kamaru Usman.
Yeah, I was going to talk about that as well.
Yeah, like
Kamaru
you said,
Usman's chain wrestling compared to Colby Covington's chain wrestling. Look at the Kamaru Usman fight with Leon Edwards in the rematch, and Leon Edwards was getting taken down repeatedly. Imagine Colby Covington, right? I think Colby Covington is the better wrestler than Kamaru Usman. There's going to be a problem in this fight, unless Leon Edwards proves us otherwise. Yeah, it's going to be a pretty dangerous thing Leon Edwards to worry about.
Yeah, and the thing is too, like, people are talking about, oh, but he shut down all of Usman's takedowns in the trilogy. I don't care. I think it's going to be very difficult for him to negate Colby's wrestling style consistently throughout 5 rounds. Now, in the first round, Leon's grappling is actually pretty good. I mean, he's very slick in the clinch with his trips. I mean, he took down Usman and controlled him. He took down RDA and held him down, but an RDA was small. So Colby will definitely have to mind his entries in the clinch. He can't get too complacent because Leon could definitely get a takedown. But over 5 rounds, like, he's not going to out wrestle Colby Covington. No fucking way. It's not going to happen. Colby will win a wrestling match. Like, he can give up one takedown, get up, and then Leon's going to have to defend several. And I just don't think he'll have that style to negate it like Kamaru, because Kamaru has the wrestling to match Colby, the physicality to outmatch Colby, a significant power advantage. I don't think Leon has a significant power advantage. He's got a significant striking advantage, but Colby's got a significant wrestling advantage and all that pressure. So I'm going to go with Colby winning this fight via decision. I think the early rounds might be a little bit dangerous, but I think as it goes on, Colby's just going to get better. He's going to build. I think having to defend all those takedowns and dealing with that pressure is going to get to Leon. And like I said, I do think that Colby's in his head. And I think that might throw Leon off his game, especially with the dad comments. I'm just saying. So I think the prophecy is going to get fulfilled. Like when we saw those memes about Strickland, O'Malley, Colby being champ all at once. It's happening, bro. Like O'Malley won the belt when no one expected it. Strickland did.
Yeah.
Next white boy up to become champ is Colby Covington. And there's going to be memes about it after. So I think this is Colby's chance. This is going to be one of those rock, paper, scissors situations in MMA where MMA math just does not work. You know, we saw this before in the welterweight title picture. Robbie beat Rory twice, who beat Woodley. Didn't stop Woodley from knocking Robbie's block off. So I think we might see a similar situation, but I'm not doubting Leon. I will not be shocked if Leon wins. I could definitely see Leon sniping Colby, and he's got past the victory. I think if he's composed, it's obviously going to be his best shot. He's got to move as much as possible, but not let Colby back him up against the cage. He's got to work the lead leg of Colby. Masvidal had some success with that. Also, he's got to target that body of Covington because he's sensitive in that area. It's not like body shots. He needs to lean to that. He cannot headhunt. So it's a fight that either man could win. Like you said, on paper, it's close. But, yeah, I got to go with Anu on this one.
Let's talk about the press because Dan was a fucking banger, bro. Yeah, Colby Covington got in Leon Edwards' head. I know people said you went too far and stuff, but come on. Welcome to martial arts. This is going to happen. You guys ask for trash talk. Don't be complaining. Don't be bitching. And don't be whining where Colby Covington is going to talk some trash. Like, I know he went beyond the fucking line, but this fight Saturday night, they're going to settle the beef. You know what I'm saying? So this is what you got to expect, you know? But, yeah, man, he got Leon Edwards pissed. This is one of those...
Leon through the mic,
you could
bro.
really, like, tell. Yeah, you could really tell Leon Edwards is pissed. Yeah, the press was pretty fun, but let's talk about Ian, the cuck Gary. I mean, we
Oh,
don't
he
know if he's sick
escaped
or
that.
not, but he didn't fucking show up. Yeah, I'm not happy with Ian Gary. He's making the situation for himself so much worse than it has to be. Should show up to the fight. Like, come on, man. Why did you get sick? Like, out of all the times you could get sick, is now is the worst time for that, you know? So let's see what happens with Ian Gary in the future. It's very unfortunate that fight was out because I was looking forward to Ian Gary versus Vicente Luque. That was a good test for Ian
Yeah.
Gary. Yeah, we were going to see how Ian Gary was going to do in that fight. It was going to be a banger. It's disappointing, man. This card was super good. It's still good, but you know, it was the ultimate early Christmas present before the UFC holidays. But yeah, that press conference, it lived up to the hype.
Yep, it did for sure. Yeah, great press conference. I mean, even without Ian, it was good. I mean, Tony Ferguson inserted himself in the picture, talking trash
Yeah.
about Colby. They went back and forth, and they worked together to go at the two Brits. Tony and Paddy went at it. So it was fun, and even Colby went after Wonderboy Thompson too.
Oh
That
yeah,
was
that was crazy. The
Colby carried.
allegations, come on, bro, come on, wonderful dude. But yeah, it's Colby Covington. You can't be like complaining, you know,
Exactly. Yep,
as
that's true,
advertised.
man. I mean,
I
people
like Leon
forget.
Edwards. Don't get me wrong, but I want to see Donald Trump wrap that belt around Colby Covington. It would make for a pretty viral moment. But yeah,
It would
continue.
be. Yeah, and I mean, to be honest, I mean, I've never been like the biggest fan of Donald Trump. I don't really follow politics. I'm not saying I'm a Trump hater, but that would be beautiful though to see Trump like in the octagon putting the belt on Colby. Another thing I would like to see too is Colby then in exchange take the belt off and be like, "Yo, this is dedicated to my favorite president of the United States," and he just puts the belt over Trump. Like that would be like a legendary moment right there. That would just
Yeah,
be huge, man.
for sure, bro.
Yeah. I'm so excited for this fight. It's gonna be so good.
Yeah,
Like, I mean, if
cards good.
Leon wins, yeah.
I just hope we get some announcements for next year on this pay per
Oh
view,
yeah.
and maybe the pay per view is gonna be fun. Just hopefully we see some maybe another announcement on this pay per view.
Yeah.
250, I believe. So
Yeah.
it would be nice if we have one here.
Yeah. And I was gonna say, like, if Leon wins, I think and Vintage MMA pointed this out. Shout out to Vintage MMA. You can follow him on Instagram. He actually did a post in his story saying if Leon wins, he'll be the only man in the UFC to beat both Kamaru Usman and Colby Covington. And that would actually be pretty big because both guys were considered two of the best welterweights in the
Yeah,
world, top two. Usman 1, Colby 2. If Leon beats both, he's put himself at number 1 as best welterweight in the world. So if MMA math works, which wouldn't shock me, hey, that's perfect for Leon's legacy. I'd be happy for him, but you know, I just want to see Colby finally have his moment. He's never been undisputed champion. I would love to see this guy finally get the undisputed belt, get the Power Ranger belt. It would be a cool visual. I used to be a Colby hater, but you know, he kind of grew on me. I watched his interviews. I'm like, man, this guy's really funny. He's making me laugh. I only like my bias against him was mainly whenever he'd go at Usman. I'd be like Team Usman, but then like after that second fight, I'm like, man, my respect for Colby is like through the roof, and I became a full-time Colby Covington fan. And yeah, I rooted for him to beat Masvidal, and I want him to win now. And I usually always pick him to win. I was this close to picking Leon though. I originally was thinking Leon will probably snipe Colby, but like I said, Colby's a tough guy to snipe just based off all that pressure and output and everything Leon's got to worry about. So it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be crazy.
yeah. There's a lot on the line for both of these guys. Hopefully, whoever wins, though, I want to have an active champion. I'm just sick and tired of the welterweight division being active amongst other divisions. We won't get into that though. Let's cut it. Let's keep it short. Let's not keep the people.
Yep. One final point is I don't want to see the winner of this fight move up a division. Both guys are talking about challenging for freaking champ status. Just stay in your division. Like we got Wonderboy Shavkat on this card. Winner of that could be closer to a title shot. Bilal Muhammad is weighing in as a backup. Just fight Bilal, bro, or fight Shav or Wonderboy, whoever. But don't go up a freaking weight class. You got to earn that, bro. Neither of those men have earned it. So yeah, that's just my take.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else to say about this card, bro, or should we
Yeah,
wrap
man,
it
it's
up?
just gonna be a great card like usual. It's gonna be
Yep.
probably the best review of the year, I guess. On paper, it's gonna be a good one. I'm excited.
Fact.
Just
And
next
then
year's gonna be great. 2023 was pretty good. We didn't get Connor and Jones in the same year, but I think next year we'll get Jones and Connor in the same year.
yeah, oh yes, that's gonna be sick. Jones and Carr. That's gonna be crazy. I can't wait for that. 2024 is definitely gonna be just as huge for sure. And hopefully 2024 blesses us with Irene Aldana as champion. Hopefully she wins. Because I was gonna say stake of the night goes to Aldana, but I think that unbiasedly goes to Colby. I think he definitely needs this win. But Irene definitely has got a point to prove this Saturday as well. She's
Well,
got a
Tony Ferguson's definitely on hot waters.
oh yeah, Tony, yes.
My bro,
Yes,
El
gotta
Kukui.
win. I think it ranks Aldana 3, Colby 2, and number 1 definitely. Number 1 stake of the night goes to El Kukui.
Yeah. All right, bro. It was
All
good
right,
talking to
yeah,
you.
that was fun. So you have any shout outs you want to make or any plugs?
No,
Is
bro,
there
no
any
plugs. I'm Samurai
follow
Sound.
you?
Let's keep it at that.
So follow you at Samurai Sod on Instagram.
Yeah, no, just Samurai Sound.
All right. And you got
No
a YouTube
plugs.
channel or anything like that?
No
People
plugs.
should.
No plugs for now.
All
Just keep
right.
it real.
Fair enough. But this guy's definitely got a bright future. He's planning on dropping a YouTube channel someday, and I'm looking forward to
That's right.
seeing that. But yeah, I'm glad I got to do these picks with you, bro. Looking forward to this Saturday night. Can't wait. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below, and peace out.